It's been a while since the last race vlog. In fact, 6 weeks since I did the Knutsford 10K. So here I am, stood on the start line of the Gainsborough and Morton 10K. Why am I here? Well, my coach, Andy, said to have a good blast 3 weeks out for my target race, the British Masters 5K at Battersea Park. He said, find a good 10K. This is a good 10K. I did it 2 years ago. It was run by a different company then. This is my first run-through race ever. So as well as take you through my race, I'll give you my impressions of how Run Through organised this event. Now, we are in North Lincolnshire. We're just near the old port of Gainsborough, little village called Morton just outside. It's a one-loop course. It's pretty flat, and I don't believe I saw any cars, so it was traffic-free too. So that was a good start.
4, 3, 2, 1. And the Gainsborough 10K is underway!
Underway we are indeed, and stats fans will see we've got metric on the screen today. And I just take a note of this chap in the Penistone vest on the left here. That's Rob. We've been coaching him now for just under 2 years. He's made a remarkable comeback from a very nasty leg injury he had at the Derby 10, and we'll see if he can run his fastest time. Well, I won't ruin it for you, but we'll see him at the end of this race. So yeah, you can see I'm setting off at 3:48 per kilometre. That's really quite optimistic. Now, one issue I've always had, if you followed this channel for a while, is I tend to set off quite steadily. But Andy's had me introducing a new protocol into my warm-up, which is 3 minutes threshold at the end of a 10 to 15 minute jog. And I'm finding that is meaning that I can get into pace straight away. Now, the instructions for this race were just go and have a blast. No pressure on time. Well, I think when I looked the last time I did this race 2 years ago, I ran high 42s. I'm very disappointed not to beat that. I'm not expecting anywhere near 40 minutes today. The last couple of 10Ks I did, I think Knutsford was low 41s, about 41.03, 41.05. And then I did a 10K at Wilm, and it was quite warm, and that was about 41.52. So if I can get anywhere low 41s, high 40s, then this will be a good day out. Flat course, like I say, starts in the village of Morton. Already, you can see we've got the ideal combination of plenty of runners around us, including Rob, to pace off, but also we're not hugely congested. So in terms of that first experience of a run-through event, this is absolutely perfect for me. Plenty of runners around, but we're not congested. As you can see, we'll settle down into the low fours, which is absolutely fine for me. Now, during the course of this run, I got to thinking about how many things you need to get right in running. Now, when I started running, it was a simple sport. You ran more, you got faster. You ran even more, you got even faster. But now I'm 55 years old and gone through so many ups and downs in running, you got me thinking about all the elements you have to get right. So, training lots, yes, I can do that. I've asked Andy to coach me so I can make sure that the training runs I'm doing, particularly the sessions, are specifically geared for me, getting faster towards that 5K in 3 weeks' time. So we've got the volume of trainings right. I do 50 to 60 miles a week. We've got the style of the sessions is absolutely right. I make sure the running shoes I go in absolutely suit me. And today I'm using the Puma Fast R's. I used them on the park run I went wrong on a few weeks ago, but this is their first outing over the 10K distance, and they're feeling really smooth and poppy. You'll see just having turned a corner, we've gone back under 4 minutes per kilometre, or in my world, under 6:26 minute miling. So yeah, having a pretty good poppy start in this race. You'll see from the incline, actually, I don't believe on looking back on all this footage, on the right-hand side, that slope ever got off 0%. I will point out where I think there's maybe a little bit of a drag and a little bit of a drop, but nothing to write home about at all. It's flat, flat, flat all the way. So jumping forward to the 1K mark, you can see I went through in 4:03. So I've mentioned I get the training right, I get the sessions right, I get the shoe choice right. Another thing I tend to do well in races is get the pacing right. I think we'll find I don't deviate much, well, spoiler alert, from around that low 4 minute pace per kilometre all the way through this race. But there is one thing that I found out today when I went to see a medical professional that I think is going to have a massive impact on my running, because if I'm honest with you, I've trained consistently now for the last 2.5 years, and although I've made progress and I've got pleasing times and I really enjoy my running and competing, I still think there's something holding me back. I'm still thinking I should be carding faster times than I currently am. So I'm going to share with you later in this video what that one thing is that I found out today that I think is going to make a huge difference, because I look at everything else to do with my running and I don't think I could train any harder. I don't think I could train any smarter. I couldn't focus more on the things I'm good at and pick the right races to do, like this one. So yeah, you always have to be looking at your running and thinking, what are the 1%? But I'm hoping that the thing I found out today is actually going to help me more than the 1%. Yeah, talk of the 1%, at the start of this race, I did take bicarb as a preparation for taking it in 3 weeks' time at the target 5K race. So we're jumping forward now to the 2 kilometre marker on my watch. It's a little bit out from the kilometre markers, which we'll come on to later, but we're still around that 4:7 pace. And on my Coros, looking back at it, my 2K came at 4:08, so nice and pleasing there. We're not going for sub 40 today. We can see that. I know that. Now, at this current time, I must admit, I didn't feel absolutely brilliant in myself. But then I shouldn't expect to be, because I didn't taper for this race at all. It was just another hard session in the middle of this training block towards the 5K. So yeah, I'd done a hard run on the Monday, another session on the Wednesday, hadn't backed off at all. So I think actually, in retrospect, I was far more pleased with this race than I was when I was running it. I was actually thinking at this point, am I going to be able to hold the pace? It doesn't feel brilliant. Despite having those fast hours on, I didn't feel as poppy now as I had in the first kilometre. It was actually becoming a bit of a grind. You can see people coming past me now, which is a little bit unusual for me when I'm running a 10K. Normally, I'm quite progressive and slice through the field like a knife through butter. But yeah, on this particular occasion, we're just passing through 3K there. The stats disappeared, but we got another 4:08, so running pretty consistently. I must admit, I did find with this race that even though I couldn't get up to total race effort, it was actually quite pleasurable, because there's always something up ahead. There's a kilometre marker. We passed through a couple of nice villages, which is good. I was never actually bored. It felt like going on a, well, faster than half marathon effort, but not quite at 10K effort run, a very, very hard threshold run. So yeah, actually, by the time now we're getting towards 4K and I realize I'm going to complete it, I'm just enjoying it. The numbers will be what they're going to be. I'm enjoying taking part, collecting another 10K from my long list of historic 10K races. And I'm glad I chose to do this one. And as you can see, it really has thinned out now. I've got this one female runner just in front of me. But yeah, I will complement run through in a minute by telling you something. But firstly, the 4K split, 4:05, you can see we're running nice and consistently. Yeah, I didn't notice any difference between this and a club organised race. There wasn't a load of shouting and razzmatazz and so-called motivational music at the beginning, probably because it starts in a quiet, sleepy Lincolnshire village on a Sunday morning. I don't think the residents would appreciate it. So yeah, it was nice and, let's call it, medium key. It wasn't totally low key. You know, at a good event, there was good encouragement at the start line and the finish line. But out here, it's really nice. You can just lock into your pace, lock into the effort. There's the odd runner around to chase or to try and keep track of. But apart from that, what a lovely morning to be in Lincolnshire. Just coming up to the halfway split now. And we get our 5K time in a minute. And it's going to be over 20 minutes. But I can start to gauge from here what I might finish the actual race in. My 5K split is... I've got 4:06 there, stacking up quite nicely, aren't they? When I actually passed the 5K marker, which happens in a minute, I think my watch said 20:40. So double that, you're looking at about 41:20. As I said, they are a little bit out. I think the runner there just wanted a 5K time trial. So there we go. Yeah, when we came to the last kilometre, it seemed to be a little bit under a kilometre. So I ended up with a slightly faster time than I thought I would. If that makes sense. So yeah, we're just coming into a pleasant, sleepy Lincolnshire village. Now we've got some houses on the outskirts. We'll take a left in a minute. We'll pass a chapel. We'll pass a war memorial too, which always is good for distracting me and making me think about times past. Yep, just coming to the village now. We had passed a drink station, but I didn't take any notice of that on a 10K. I don't really need to take in any drinks there. There's cones down on the course as well. As I say, we've not seen one car all race, and we're nearly 6K in, or coming up to the 4 mile marker in English. Yeah, old chapel there on the left, still in use, I think, as a private house. And then in a little bit on the right, there is a war memorial too. So really enjoying this race. It's quiet, it's flat. Yeah, look at that slope on the right-hand side. It's still saying 0%. Look at the pace on the left-hand side. We're still around that 405, 406, running nice and consistently. So all that remains for me to do for the rest of the race is bring it home reasonably equally. Yeah, another 408 there. This really is turning into the race where not a lot happens. We're not going to run a stellar time. We're going to run a solid time. We're not racing anybody that I know. I don't recognize any of these runners around me. I'm going to pick a few people off in the last few kilometers. So what is my big news that I received today? Well, you may have seen Dawn's last video when she talked about some of the issues she's had around marathon running, and she'd been to see a chiropractor. Now, I have been having increasing knee and hamstring pain during the course of this 5K training block. So I thought it wouldn't go amiss for me to go and see a chiropractor. Now, I usually put my aches and pains in running down to the fact to do a lot of commuting, a lot of sitting on a laptop at work, a lot of sitting on a laptop editing these videos. I thought it's just lifestyle. I need to manage it with strength, conditioning, and mobility. But I went to see this chiropractor, and what he said absolutely surprised me. Although what didn't surprise me was clocking another 408 for kilometer 7. Yeah, he said that my problems are down to very flat feet, having no spring off from particularly my right foot. Now, he said that 50% of the shock absorption when you're running should come from your feet and 50% on the muscle at the back of the knee. What's happening is I'm getting virtually no shock absorption from my feet because they're that tight. The 50% is going to the back of the knee. That's becoming worn out. So the rest of the shock absorption is then coming through my lower back, which is then meaning that my hamstrings and my quads become exhausted, and I'm doing all the work from the glutes, which explains the pain I've been having. If I try and run long and do marathons, those of you who follow the channel for a while know that doesn't end well. So I've pivoted towards 5K and 10K, not being entirely satisfied with the performance I've been having. So asked Andy to coach me. That's been going brilliantly, but with the extra strain and stress on my body of running these fast sessions at 10K, 5K, 3K, and even 1500 meter pace, it started to affect me in a different way. So whichever way I turn, I've got to do something to address this underlying weakness. And he said the answer is to have some insoles in my feet, in my shoes, actually, not in my feet, under my feet, in my shoes. And if I do that consistently, I'll start to get more shock absorption in the feet. I'll start to flow better. I'll be able to run on various surfaces, because what I tend to do, I just run everything on the flat, because coming downhill absolutely is very, very painful on my knees and my back. I dread running downhill, so which is why I do races like this, flat 10Ks, because it's not painful and I can do them reasonably well. What this should be able to do is increase my range of running. I could look at maybe doing a half marathon and beyond. I can look at getting full bang for the buck out of all the 5K and 10K training I've been doing. So hopefully we're going to get more than the extra 1%. You'll notice we've gone through 8K, and I would say that in this part of the race, and Dawn will verify it, she was doing the half marathon as we speak, and she found this bit very tough coming back into the village of Morton. You're actually running into quite a stiff breeze now, and that explains kilometre number 8. Yeah, we just slipped to 411 there. It's not enough of a slope, this, to register anything on the right-hand side. It's still 0%, but it's a very, very slight drag. And as I said, into a bit of headwind. So yeah, this news I'm hoping is going to just unlock that blockage I feel I've had in my running. Everything else is right. The mileage I do, the sessions I get from a well-respected coach in Andy, the way I approach my running, my races, everything else about it, my own knowledge of running, my own coaching, I think everything around me is first class. But something has been holding me back, and I thought it was just my general lifestyle, the commuting, etc. But seeing this chiropractor today has given me fresh and renewed hope that good times could be just around the corner. It would be great to get rid of that feeling that I'm always running with the handbrake slightly on, that I have to avoid hills because of the lack of shock absorption on my knees coming down. The chiropractor also said he was amazed I could manage the amount of running I do, given all the problems I have because of this lack of shock absorption. As I've said to you, I've found a way by running flat courses, by doing most of my training on the flat, and by doing flat road races no further than 10K. I found a way that works for me, but I don't just want to survive and maintain. I want to get better. I want to improve. I want to see my times come down. I want to be more competitive than I am. I want to be beating more people or see my rivals in the local area. So yeah, really, really looking forward that now I have everything in place. Yeah, everything in place. I need to be successful. So here we go, 4:09, and we've just got the final kilometre away. Come back into the village of Morton. Now, I've been looking at my watch at every kilometre marker rather than taking the pace of my Coros, and I reckoned I was going to run about 41:30. But as I say, the gap between the 9th kilometre marker and the end of this race actually was less than a kilometre, so I ended up running a little bit faster than I thought I would, which always shows you should run to your effort, not to the watch or not to the markers on the course. So yeah, my first run-through experience race, really enjoyed it. Could not fault it in the slightest. Ample toilets, really smooth number collection. There were no problems out on the course. There's the 9 kilometre marker there, 9.1 on my watch. Yeah, no problems at all out on the course. I've not seen a car all the way around. Really smoothly marshalled. So well done run through on taking over this event that had been run by another running company before and really making a success of it. And not only doing the 10K successfully, but adding in the half marathon, which we'll see Dawn complete in a minute later on in this video. So can we bring fans of this channel anything to write home about? We've seen a string of low 4-minute kilometres. We're still running at 4:04. What can we run this last kilometre in? Effort levels going up, and I've got this chap in the black vest in front of me to try and chase down and get on his shoulder. We're down to 4:03 per kilometre now. Winding it forward a little bit, and we've overtaken the fella in black, and we're down to 4:02 now with about 350 metres to go. 4:01. As they say on Crown My Run, can we get it into those threes and even average under 4 minutes kilometre for this last one? We've got another fella in black up ahead now. Living my best life here, and I genuinely mean that. I love going to races. 10K is my favourite distance, as you know. I like flat courses where I can just tick off the kilometres or miles evenly. And yeah, we're now down into the 350s, 358, 357. We've got about a lap of a track to go, about 250 metres. In a little while, we're going to turn right and a sprint into the finish for most people, probably appearing by about 2 or 3 seconds per mile or kilometre for me. Nice crowd support here, so let's listen to them. Look at this sprint, 357, 356. Will we get into the 340s? Spoiler alert, we won't. Oh yes, just need to backward chain that 10th kilometre to the other 9 and it's happy days. Finishing time officially 41:08, second in my age category, although there were 4 Vet 60s in front of me and 1 Vet 65, so I guess morally it's 7th in my age category. But yeah, got to be pleased with that on tired legs and with that issue that I'm very hopeful it's going to be resolved. And very soon after me, we had Rob coming in, who I mentioned at the start of the video, 41:39 for him. That is his fastest 10K time since 2020. He has set comeback PBs over 5K, 10K, 10 miles, half marathon, and most notably the marathon where he ran a 3:19 at Manchester to qualify for the London Marathon Good for Age. So if you'd like your running to benefit from our coaching, please get in touch at this email address.
So Gainsborough half marathon for me today. I'm just going to see how the legs feel and have a play really. It's a beautiful morning, ideal conditions, sun's on its way out, hardly any wind. So yeah, let's enjoy this half marathon. So this is the first race for me since Abingdon DNF, and I just wanted to get a race under my belt today. I had wanted to improve on the 1:40 half I did at Swansea earlier in the year. Although, just getting over a nasty lurgy and treatment the day before from the chiropractor meant that it wasn't meant to be on this day. I did find myself running on my own for quite a lot of the second half of the race. You can see here it is actually quite open, and although I said at the beginning there wasn't much wind, when we were on those exposed sections it really did feel quite a stiff breeze into my face. So although slower than what I wanted, I was okay with 1:42.15 as the end result. And a nice little bonus being first female 60 in the half marathon.
So well done, Dawn. I mentioned earlier the potential I thought I could unlock with chiropractor treatment. You'll notice Dawn here running with a far better running style, far more fluid, far more open than she has done in recent years. Arms swinging backwards and forwards and legs cycling through a lot better than she has recently. So things looking up for her too. So we hope you've enjoyed this race footage of a very encouraging day out at the Gainsborough and Morton 10K and half marathon for each of us. So until next time, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.